Hey folks, Casey here with Preparedness Hive. We're going to chat about a bug out bag today. If you're lucky enough to catch this video in the first 30 days or so of its launch, we're actually giving away this very pack. It's valued over $2,500, so definitely enter if you catch it in time. For those of you who don't know Preparedness Hive, I encourage you to check out our website. It's preparednesshive.com. We are huge proponents of helping folks get better prepared no matter what their preparedness level is. So this is one way we can start to share the love and give back to the preparedness community, one person at a time. I do want to chat a little bit about bug out bags in general, their purpose, some organization, and just a general idea of the reasoning why you might want to carry a bug out bag. These can sometimes be referred to as go bags or get home bags or inch bags, sometimes lone wolf bags if you want to get crazy with them. But the purpose of these is really to just get you from an unsafe environment, no matter what that circumstance is. It doesn't have to be some catastrophic scenario or Teotwalkie or whatever SHTF scenario. It can be just a situation where you need to flee your home immediately from a flood or a fire on its way or whatever, and this pack can help you be okay for a number of days, maybe weeks at a time. So it's going to take you from A, being unsafe, to B, being safe, and ideally make that journey palatable on the way. So organization in a bug out bag is extremely important. Usually if you're in a situation where you need to use a bug out bag, you're going to be probably a little bit flustered and stressed, and the last thing you really want to do is be dealing with a whole bunch of stuff just stuffed in a pack and you're not sure where anything is. So we'll go through the organization of this pack and why we chose to do it the way we did. Part of it has to do with how the pack sits on your body and weight distribution, and part of that is functionality. So when you get into the pack, you're not having to reach to the bottom just to reach items you're going to be getting to on a regular basis. We're going to get into it here in a second. I will say any of you that maybe disagrees with some of the items we have in here, if you have other ideas for things that you feel like should be in here, or maybe different types of items from different vendors, we would love to hear all of it. I encourage you to comment on this video, shoot us an email, anything like that. Pop on one of our socials. We're always open to learning, and we're here to help everybody grow together. So don't be shy. Bug out bags can serve a variety of purposes. Again, getting you from A to B, A being an unsafe location and B being a safer location, hopefully one that you've planned for. But they come in all shapes and sizes, whether they're full of everything you can imagine, you've stuffed them full of food, or they're just a more basic pack. This one is sort of a well-rounded pack. We kind of plan for a number of contingencies as part of this particular kit, but each kit is different, and it's going to be entirely contingent on you and the journey you need to take. So the length of time could be anywhere from hours to days to weeks. And if you plan for a shorter trip, you can almost bet that you might run into some scenarios where that trip's going to get extended. So you will notice a lot of redundancy in this pack. If you've been in preparedness at all, you're well aware of 2 is 1 and 1 is none. We kind of take that even one step further, and we like to round out as many things as we can just to be sure, especially for folks that aren't as experienced in the preparedness world. This pack can still get you there safely. So, all right, we're going to start with the pack itself. I did bring a sort of a additional option, or runner-up as I'll call it. This is from Mystery Ranch. It's the Scree 32. Both of these are 32-liter packs. This one obviously is a little bit more urbanized, if you will. Has a great system to pop in. I mean, these just slide open and you got one zip right down the middle, and you're open, and you can access pretty much the entire pack. Really, the only reason we went with this pack was essentially this add-on piece here. It just was great for the actual products that we have in this and the gear that we decided to put in here. This was amazing for organizing it and allowing it to pop right off. It just literally velcros on here. There's a couple loops, and you attach it and strap it down. So this guy here becomes more or less like a grab and go kit. So we felt like that was really phenomenal for a bug out bag as well. This pack though, I will say, if you're getting into more weight when you're carrying a bug out bag, this is a 28-pound bag. It's a great weight for a bug out bag. It's carried, or can be carried, by pretty much anybody, within reason, of course. But this pack has some hip straps here that can really help distribute weight. So if you've never been fitted for a pack, I encourage you to do that. We don't need to get into the specifics there, but these, when you distribute weight on your hips, it can make a tremendous difference on the longevity of walking around, and especially when you're looking at days at a time. So this does not have hip straps, but again, being 28 pounds, that's not a terribly awful weight to have on your shoulders for a long period of time. So I'll have links to both of these in there if you decide that you wanted to go a different route. We probably researched 100 packs as part of this, and I'll say these definitely hit the top of our list. With that, I wanted to show you a few things around this pack here. It's got a small quick access pocket in the top it's felt lined in here, so you know, sunglasses or whatever, but we keep this as like a quick access pouch. It does have great padding on the back here. It's very comfortable to wear. It's got an access pocket back here. It does have a rigid piece in the back to help with carrying and making sure that it is more comfortable for you, but this pocket back here you can use as like a concealed carry. You can put a water bladder in here. It's a great little access panel, and then you've got a smaller side access pocket here that is standalone. It's not, you're not reaching inside the pack there, so depending on how full your pack is, this may be not usable. And there's one of those on both sides here, and this back panel goes all the way through as well. So for the most part though, those two pockets, you've got one flat pocket here that has a decent amount of space in it, goes all the way down to here, and then you've got one lower pocket down here that reaches all the way to the middle down here. So decent amount of storage on the outside of the pack. But I'm going to open this up and we'll get everything laid out, and then we'll be back. All right, so we got everything laid out here. I'm going to kind of go through things in the systems that we had them placed in the pack. Inside this pack, it's pretty easy to organize things. You've got a couple inner compartments here. This top inside is mesh. You can see through it. It's really nice. Same with this inner one here. It goes all the way through. Just nice for, like, you know, if you've got a local map you want to store in here. We keep a couple other items I'll go through later. And there is a very tiny secret zipper compartment up under here that is totally hidden from everything. So, you know, if you need some extra cash or something you want to store in there that's not easily findable by others, that's a good place. Let's go through some items. So we're going to start with a shelter kit here. First and foremost being the trusty old Swagman roll. This item is it's one of my favorites and probably one of the most important in this pack, especially if you're in moderate to cold environments. This guy, it's got a ClimaShield Apex inner layer that gives you some extra thermal protection. It has a zipper built into the outside, so you can zip it up and use it more or less as a sleeping bag. You can also zip it up and fill that full of soft debris, leaves, and other items that will help you, you know, to lay on the ground and lay on that to keep conduction off and keep you a little bit warmer from that heat escaping through the ground. And then you can also use it as a hammock. So this guy is extremely versatile. In complement to this, we have a USGI poncho, which connects to this via some eyelets all the way around. So you can make this waterproof if you need to. You can just wear the poncho by itself. Great little poncho, great system, really. This poncho can also be used as a shelter. I've had some success with that. I've also not had great success with it. It is a little bit on the small side, especially if you're a taller person. This guy is, or really if there's any wind at all, like water is going to blow up under this thing. So it's just not very, it doesn't give you much square footage there. So, but it was better than nothing. So great system. With that said, we include a ripstop tarp by REI. This is an ultralight ripstop. It weighs like 12 ounces, extremely durable. It has eyelets all around the perimeter and across the ridge line. So you can very quickly and easily set up a shelter, just a quick A-frame shelter that is completely waterproof, and it's 10 foot by 10 foot, so it's plenty of space for you, and it will keep a lot more water off than just the poncho. So great little system. It does come with some titanium stakes and some cordage already in here that you can use just depending on the weather and stuff. So in addition to that, we do have a couple different cordage options that we include as well. Paracord, of course. Paracord's kind of the default when it comes to cordage, just because it has multiple strands inside. I think there's 7 in there, and then you can use those obviously to extend the length of your cordage if you need to. Use them for flossing. You can use them just about anything really, but this does have a bit of a slippery outer texture, so sometimes you might find that knots can kind of fall apart occasionally, depending on the knot, of course. So we like bank line. It's twisted and tarred bank line number 36. This stuff has a great grip strength. This is 550 pound weight. This is like 300 pound weight. Like if you're building a shelter, 300 pounds is more than enough to account for most knots. So you may find that you're just using this. This is way more than you need. This is about 120 feet, I think. I would suggest maybe 40 or 50 feet really for both of these should be plenty. But this stuff's also great because in a pinch you can, I mean it's tarred so you can light it on fire, and it's a good little fire starter. So, so this here is our shelter system. I'm going to move that aside. Next, let's talk about fire. We've got a little fire kit here. This guy is just a Maxpedition pouch here. It's a pretty nice little pouch. There's some extra room in here, so if you need to store other things, if you're finding that you want to include some other items in your kit, this guy's pretty good. Default fire starter, really for everybody. Bic lighters are, Bic specifically, lighters are very abundant right now, and they're pretty cheap. So for most bug out scenarios, as long as it's not a super long period of time, this guy should do the trick for whatever you're needing. This is a little waterproof case just in case, but that's your kind of first line of defense for fire. Now, every situation may not require a fire, so especially in an urban environment, and you're trying to remain stealthy, you may not want a fire. So keep that in mind depending on where you are and what you're trying to bug out to and where you're coming from. You know, it's really contingent on your specific scenario. If you do need a fire, Bic lighter's number 1. Next, we would go with a ferro rod and some kind of tender, basically. So we give you 2 options in here. You don't really need both, but everybody's different, so we wanted to just include both. You can keep them both just as extra backup, contingency after contingency after contingency. So, but if you've never used a ferro rod or a ferrocerium rod, also called a steel rod, these guys, they throw off a massive spark. This one in particular by Craftig is the best I've ever used. These guys are just, it throws an immense amount of sparks off each time. So, and this guy will last you almost a lifetime. I mean, you get thousands and thousands and thousands of strikes off one of these these guys. So in combination with this, we have two little tender options here. These guys are from Self-Reliance Outfitters. These are mini Infernos. And then we have these fire tabs, which are little pieces of jute that have been soaked in wax. Both of these work great. These mini Infernos are my personal favorite. You can just rip them and tear open, and the fibers, it's basically a fiber soaked in an accelerant and then dipped in paraffin wax. So it catches like that with this ferro rod, and it will burn for a couple of minutes while you're getting the fire going. So all of these are great options. They do not take an immense amount of experience to use either. So that's our second line of defense. We also have a worst case option here, which is these stormproof matches. These guys will light in just about any condition, high winds, underwater, soaking wet, whatever. And there's, I don't know, 30 or 40 of them in here. So if you can't get a fire going with all this, then maybe you're not supposed to survive. I don't know. But this is also a small waterproof container as well. So if you wanted to take a few of these out, you could throw a little bit of money or maybe a photo that's really cherished for you. You can keep that in there and keep it safe. And then last but not least, we do offer a Fresnel lens. If the sun's out, this is a great fire starter. I mean, I'm not going to show you the example now, but they do a great job, believe it or not. And it's another backup. It has zero weight, so why not throw it in there? That's it for the fire kit. Let's go to the water system next. The first line of defense for water is a Grail GeoPress. This is a phenomenal product. Pretty much the most perfect option you can imagine for a bug out scenario. Super fast, easy to use. This bottom piece you just fill with water. You can pre-filter it with a Shemog or some other kind of rag if you need to, and run this through, and you've got water in pretty much 30 seconds or less every single time. You can run about 300 to 400 cycles through each filter on this. The filters are replaceable. The whole unit's about $90. It's a really great item. I can't speak highly enough for this. So that's our primary means of water. Backup filter, Sawyer Squeeze. This Sawyer product in particular we found clogs a lot less than the Sawyer Mini and the Sawyer Micro Squeeze. So highly recommend this one. It's very fast to use as well. Comes with a little bigger pouch so you can do a little bit more at a time. You just fill this up, put this on the end here, squeeze it on through, and you've got clean water to drink. The Sawyer system comes with a little backwash kit here as well. So both of those great systems. We also include a stainless steel 32-ounce bottle. It's 32 ounces for a specific reason. This is a single wall container as well, so you can put this directly over fire to boil water. You can cook in this, and same with this guy. You can make char cloth in these. Like, great little setup here. But this is 32 ounces for your chlorine dioxide tabs. These are Catadine. In particular, if you don't use these with 32 ounces of water exactly, you may have issues there. So these are designed to sanitize 32 ounces of water. Make sure you do that. It's extremely important. And then last but not least is a Silcock key. Probably all heard of this, but if you haven't, this is a more or less a key or a wrench that's used on the outside of buildings in urban environments, especially larger office buildings and skyscrapers, things like that. They have a faucet on the outside of a building that you can unlock with this and get all of the water, access to the water that's inside of a building. So in an urban environment, this guy is extremely important. That may be your only means or only access to water. So that's it for the water system. All right, let's get into the medical and first aid kit that's part of this. Again, when we organize this pack, when it's in there, this IFAK kit is right on top for a reason. This individual first aid kit, IFAK, is meant for trauma purposes. So, you know, bullet wounds, large lacerations, things that are bleeding profusely. This is what you desperately need, along with specifically a North American Rescue Gen 7 cat tourniquet. Do not go cheap on these. In that moment when you need a tourniquet, the last thing you want is for it to break. So get the real thing. They're only 30 bucks. Well worth it. But a tourniquet also sits right on top, easy access. Inside this kit, we've got some hemostatic combat gauze for, you know, stuffing wounds to help stop that bleed faster. We've got some additional compressed gauze if you need to further pack that. We got a 4-inch trauma dressing that you can help for pressure dressing there. A little airway kit and some hyphen chest seals. So if you've got puncture wounds, especially if they go all the way through, to help with respiratory, make sure you seal those wounds. And there's a 2-pack in here for that. So that is your trauma portion of the kit. As far as first aid goes, we have a pretty comprehensive kit here. Doesn't need to be super major, but you want to just make sure you take care of all the necessary aspects that may happen to you, because you may be in a situation where you're finding that you may hurt yourself a little more than you would if you're just sitting in your house, obviously. So you're probably running around doing what you got to do to survive. So in the front here, we've just got some moleskin. If you've ever walked a long period of time in some very uncomfortable shoes, you might know what really big blisters feel like, and that's not comfortable. So that stuff will keep you going. We've got a wound irrigation syringe here that's just a saltwater syringe. It's great for irrigating wounds and cleaning them out if you get, you know, scraped up with a lot of dirt and stuff, just to keep you safe there. Some Advil and Tylenol, Imodium and Benadryl, some basic meds just to make sure you're not stuck, you know, with diarrhea or whatever, and you got to deal with that. Again, all things you don't want to deal with when you're trying to get from A to B as fast as you possibly can. And then some basic first aid items, wound closures and antiseptics and things like that. I will make note, we upgraded the emergency blanket in here. It's a Titan emergency survival blanket. It's got camo on the outside of it. If you're in urban, that means nothing to you, but these also are a little bit more durable than some of the others. Those other ones they can tear pretty easy, and they're almost worthless, like the cheap regular ones. But these are extremely durable, so we threw one of those in there. That's it for first aid. We also include some basic hygiene items. There's some antibacterial wet ones, just hand wipes, easy, quick access, cleaning your hands, along with some hand sanitizer. Bug spray, depending on where you are, extremely important. You know, especially like Florida and southern U.S. I mean, those things are vicious down there. So, and then just a personal hygiene kit. You may or may not use this, but man, if you've been running and sweating and trying to just survive for 2 or 3 days, sometimes your own stench can make you sick. So some deodorant, maybe couple little disposable toothbrushes, fingernail clippers, obviously. You know, if hangnail or something like that, you're going to be screwed if you don't get that taken care of. So that little kit, it's a give or take, but you know, more than 3 to 5 days, you're going to be thankful for that. And then last but not least, you got your TP, basically. We go with wet wipes because they just do a better job of cleaning you up afterward, I would say. And you don't want the dreaded old monkey butt. If you don't know what that is, don't look it up. It's not good. And then you got porta wipes. These little guys, just extra towels. There's 10 towels right here in this little container. It weighs almost nothing. You just put a dab of water on them. They expand out to a nice little towel, so you can use that to wipe your face, or more toilet paper, or whatever you're needing there. So That is our medical / hygiene kit. All right, real quick, we're gonna just walk through the food that we do include in this pack. Your pack may need more food than this. I will say though, we try to, this pack was really designed for 2, 3, maybe 4 to 5 days at most in terms of food. Now, can you stretch this further? Sure. I mean, we can go pretty far without much food, but these items here are, we wanted to minimize the amount of time you're going to spend preparing and eating food. So number one item would be this SOS emergency food ration. These guys are great. The flavor, I remind that great word is it is not great, but it is not terrible. So they do a pretty good job for 3,600 calories being right here. I'd say this is pretty phenomenal. There's 9 individually wrapped bars in here, so you can just grab one of these and keep moving, eat it on the run. You can stretch this easy 2 to 3 days if you needed to. So this is your primary source of food for that. Obviously, throw a couple more Cliff bars and Lar bars or whatever your favorites are in the pack, or even just have extra food on your person pretty much at all times, honestly. We'll get into a little bit of EDC at the end of this that you may not find in this pack, but another item, if you do decide to stop for the night, or you're stationary and you do have a fire going, boil some water and eat this guy up. I mean, this will give you some good calories for the next day, and chicken and dumplings is always my favorite. So we give you a long spoon for that as well. If you've ever tried the shorter spoon or get your hand down in there, it's just annoying. And then a couple little backups here. You got the old trusty P51 can opener. These guys are great. So if you're on your journey, you're out of food, and you find some cans of food somewhere, this will help you get those open without running a knife through it and trying to hurt yourself pretty bad. So, and again, weighs nothing. So, and then last but not least, on the I'll just say nutrients side of things, these little Degen boost packets, you can just pour them right in your water. They've got some pretty good nutrients in them and antioxidants, and really good and electrolytes as well. But they're great for just when you're on the move. This will give you a little extra boost of energy, keep you as healthy as you possibly can be while you're trying to make this journey. So having a couple things like this, again, I'll have links to a lot of this stuff, but you know, something like this is also really good to include in your pack. That's it for food. All right, we're gonna chat just a little bit about some navigation items and comms as well. So first, you got Sun 2 MC2 compass here. This guy is great little compass. It's got a little magnifying glass that again can be used as a little fire starter if you want. But if you don't know how to use a compass, I encourage you to learn how. This can really get you by, especially if you're in a rural environment and you have no idea where you're going. The last thing you want to do is get lost out there, especially in the middle of the woods. This also has a mirror included in it, so you know, if you get a cut on your face or something and you need to help get that fixed up and stitched up, this will help you get by with that. So really important to have that mirror on there. In addition to that, we include a Ride in the Rain notepad here, which is just waterproof paper with a couple mechanical pencils. We like mechanical pencils. They're always sharp, and there's a ton of lead in there, and you don't have to worry about dealing with sharpening them or anything like that. And they hold on this just fine in the water. So you're good with that amount of lead there. These notepads are also good if you need to leave notes behind, or if you've got a system worked out with others. You know, obviously those are going to stay without getting damaged in the environment that's there. And then last, in terms of wayfinding, we've got this little Brunton 8X monocular. This is a great little item, especially again in urban environments. You know, without having to move forward, being able to see a pretty good distance, 8 times further than you would be able to, is a pretty good deal. So having this in there, it weighs very little. It's a great little item to keep in your pack. And then last but not least, we do include a couple of Baofeng UV5Rs. Not saying you have to be a ham operator or anything. These guys are more for communication between you and what we're assuming is going to be at least one other person. These included a whip antenna, give you a little bit extended range. These are not going to get you super far, but what you can do is listen in, especially in an extreme situation. These things are going to be hopping. There's going to be a lot of folks talking. So being in the know of what's going on and being able to listen in on different stations. You can unlock these as well, and you can get access and listen in on GMRS and FRS bands as well. So these are extremely important. You guys need to be able to communicate with each other. So we include those in the pack. All right, let's chat a little bit about some of the additional gear we've got in here. Starting with a fixed blade knife. Chances are your EDC, which is your everyday carry items, you may already carry a pocket knife of some kind. You might also carry a lighter, maybe some chapstick, and whatever else you decide to carry on a daily basis. Hint, hint. You probably don't carry a fixed blade knife though, unless you're constantly out in the woods and stuff. So in this kit though, we do feel like a good solid full tang fixed blade knife is really important to have. You just don't know what you're going to get into, and this can also be used for defense purposes if you really had to. And the Moore Garberg is just a great knife. It's very well known. It's well established. Everybody speaks highly of it because it's a great knife. It's extremely durable. And this little kit actually comes with an extra ferro rod on it with a little sharpener built in as well. So great knife. Can't speak highly enough. In addition to that, we definitely want to have a multi-tool of sorts. We love Leathermans. They have lifetime warranties. They're extremely durable as well. I think I've had mine for 20 years now, and I've never had a single problem with it. So phenomenal products. You want to make sure with these, it really depends on your specific scenario, obviously, as to what specific tools you want to have in yours. A backup knife is always good, along with a saw. Some of these will have an awl as well for using to make holes. It's good for like bow drills and things of that sort, or drilling holes if you need to. Pliers, screwdrivers are always good. I think it's on most of them. Maybe an extra pair of scissors as well. So uses for those, pretty common sense, but you will use it. And then we've got a little bit of lighting here. My preference is a headlamp. Keeps your hands free, makes it super easy to use for whatever you're doing. This Princeton Tech Viz is a great model. It defaults to a red light, which pretty much serves all purposes. I don't think I rarely turn the main light on this. But this one also has green and blue lights, which blue lights are good for if you're dealing with a blood situation at night. And it also has infrared. So if you've advanced your preparedness to the level where you've got night vision and things of that sort, this can aid you in that as well. So great little flashlight. It's maybe $40 or so. It's great quality. The Nightcore MT2A is also a really great flashlight. It takes AA batteries, which are very prevalent, so that's one of the main reasons we chose this. But it also locks into a couple different views, so you can set whatever view you want, twist it tight, and it'll stay on that every time you turn it on. So great little flashlight as well, very lightweight. In addition, we offer a couple of these Night Eyes carabiners. These guys, they're very fast to start using. So like if you're not comfortable making knots, you've not worked with a lot of cordage or anything, these you can just pull the cord right through it and you let this go, and now you have a loop at the end that you can attach to whatever you need to. Super fast, especially again for more inexperienced folks. We give you two of those. And then additionally for attaching things, we've got these night-eyes bungees that are adjustable, so you can go anywhere down to 6 inches all the way up to 28 inches. And these are really nice if you've got additional items. Maybe you're planning for a longer term thing and you need to have a sack of extra food, or maybe a blanket or something of that sort attached to your pack. These are really good for doing that and gives you easy access on and off. So that's those guys. Extra lighter. Some of these items we keep in the very top portion of the pack just for quick, easy access. This item here in particular is a little sewing kit. This is a, if you end up with your button on your pants falls off, or you got a big tear in your pants or something, it's really cold out, that can be a little hard to move quickly if you've got to deal with those kind of things on the fly. So having this little kit can go a long way in helping your journey just stay very efficient. So again, weighs nothing. And then we've got some trip / snare wire. Doubt you'll use this, but in a situation where you need to make a snare or something, this is going to go a long way. But this wire is also really great for wrapping and attaching things if you need to combine stuff together. A lot of times with your shelter, sometimes this can help wire up some things, especially if you're dealing with trying to attach wood and stuff together. This is a real quick, easy twist way to get all that to work. So it's a good little snare wire. We've got just a basic heavy-duty contractor bag here. These guys have a variety of uses. You can use them as a poncho. You can you can fill them full of water if you really had to. You can fill them full of leaves, and again, lay on them to keep the ground from keeping you so cold. So and there's several. I'll put a link. There's another lady who's done I think it's 100 uses for a trash bag. So these things are a lot more versatile than they appear to be. I mentioned this before. This is a shemagh. It's basically a 3-foot wide by 3-foot piece of cotton. So you can use this to wrap your face and head if it's extreme conditions. You can use this to pre-filter water through your bottle. You can use this to make char cloth if you need additional tinder. Variety of uses. You can cover up a little bit with if you really need to, but just a great item to have in a pack. This saw is probably an optional item depending on where you are, but in terms of any kind of rural situation, especially if you're planning to build fires and you don't have readily available pre-cut firewood, this saw by Silky is the absolute best. These guys will rip through wood in no time at all with very little effort on your part. So these are my favorite saws. I just use them primarily for any sawing I have to do when I'm out backpacking and everything. So I love these saws. On top of that, we've got a couple basic items here. The old trusty poop shovel. You may be so nervous on this trip that you may not even go, but if you do, dig before you go. There's your advice. And then I'll go through this. This here is a dry sack. We give you 3 of them, different sizes here. They are what they are. You understand a dry sack, but it's important to have those because if you anticipate going through a situation where you know it's going to be wet most of the trip, it doesn't hurt to just throw a lot of this in here, or even keep it in these dry sacks as they're in your pack, and just make sure nothing gets wet in there so you don't have to deal with any of it. The poncho, at the same time, usually you can put that on if it's raining. It'll go right over your pack and you don't even have to worry about it, but it's good to have them. Inside here we have some items that really never should get wet. So duct tape, I don't need to explain that. It's the fix-all. So we got a SAS survival guide. Again, this is more for inexperienced folks, but this kind of gives you a whole lot of tips on what to do in pretty much any environment. So it's a great little book. Might be something you read and could reference at any point in time on your trip if you're really just like, man, I really need to do this, but I don't know how to do that. It's probably in that book. A couple more items here. We got a solar charged power bank. This guy's great. You can attach it to your pack and walk and keep your items charged as you go. It's got a few different USB ports on the end here. Pretty good size battery as well. So great little unit. And then just a couple rechargeable AA's and AAA's, and then a charging cable for your Baofeng radios to keep those charged as well. So everything in here you can charge. If you bring we give you a battery charger as well. If you want to store that in here, you can take that with you, and you can keep all of this stuff charged on the go as you need to. So last but not least, we have a couple smaller items. Pair of gloves. We like leather gloves. They just hold up a lot better than most. So and they keep your hands a little bit warmer. So leather gloves. And then we have two items here that are optionals. This fishing and hunting kit is something that you probably will not use. However, if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're on an extended journey and you really need something like this, you're going to be super grateful you have it. It's got more or less a full kit of what you would need to fish, as well as a small kit for trapping and hunting even as well, with like a little slingshot. So hopefully you've got, a firearm and maybe some other means to do that. But again, great little kit, hopefully something you never have to use. And then a couple, these are super heavy duty Ziploc bags. Great for, even some of this stuff if you don't have a dry sack handy, or if you've got them all full of stuff. These can work pretty well for that, and you can put like sharp metal objects and they won't cut through this. So these are really great items. And last but not least, definitely an optional item, but amazing for morale, is just a deck of cards. Again, it's not needed, but these happen to be little survival cards, so you can kind of learn as you play if you really wanted to. But if you're bugging out and you are with your family, maybe some little ones, it's going to be extremely stressful most likely. So bringing things back to a little bit of normalcy and trying to introduce some laughter and doing what you can to keep that situation just somewhat stable is going to go a long way. So I highly recommend some kind of deck of cards, form of entertainment that you can do as part of this package. That is it. There's I mentioned EDC items earlier. So everyday carry items. Again, some of this stuff really should be an everyday carry item. We included in this pack as like a backup to those items, but one big item that we didn't mention in this pack that really should be is a firearm. It's contingent on what's comfortable for you, but I do carry every day. Most of the preparedness folks that I know also carry every day. If your state allows it, I would encourage you to go through the necessary hoops to make that a reality for yourself, especially in a situation where you're having to bug out. You just don't know what you're going to come up against, and if it's a very extreme situation, you are going to want that firearm. So highly encourage you to go down that road. Another item that is not in here that you will want to include is some extra clothing. You should always have extra clothing with you at all times, whether it's just in your vehicle or you pack a bag or a sack every time you go out. But if nothing else, just some extra socks and an extra layer of something. It gets pretty cold at night typically, no matter where you are. The temperature change is fairly significant, so it doesn't hurt. Just pack some extra clothing. And the very last thing, again, going back to sort of our primary focus at Preparedness Hive, is really people. You can't very well fit your buddy in this pack, but you can definitely practice with some folks that you trust and that you can potentially try to meet up with and bug out with. Be it a neighbor, a friend, even your other family members. You want to take the time to practice that. And you've heard the phrase, there's strength in numbers. That is absolutely true. So anything you can do to think and align the folks that you might be having to go through a scenario like that with, the better off you're going to be and the better your chances of survival. If you like this video and you appreciated everything here, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, and please, again, make some comments, share your knowledge with the rest of the folks in the preparedness community. We would love to hear from you. So thanks again for watching.